The genre of hip-hop can, and has, become very stale in certain parts of the music consumption ecosystem. I think the frustration comes from the flexibility that the genre of hip-hop is capable of, and seeing mainstream artist after mainstream artist after mainstream artist continue to play it safe. Take no risks, make what works. It's just kind of disappointing, in total honesty. But there is a silver lining. Not only do other musicians agree with this sentiment, they're actively pushing and working to not just do something different in hip-hop. They're looking to redefine hip-hop. So forward-thinking with what hip-hop can be. These musicians deconstruct the genre and leave it to bare its bones. Not everyone will get it. Fuck, not everyone will even like it. But that's the point. When people claimed that rock and roll was dying, new styles and sounds were created in rebellion of that. Post-rock. People are currently proclaiming that hip-hop is now dying. But in rebellion of that, new styles and sounds are being created as we speak. Call me delusional, but I'd like to think I had a hand in coining the term post-rap. First one to really talk about it in 2021, so you're welcome. I mean, yeah, were there a bunch of like forum posts and articles written about it from like 2009? Yeah, but I don't know, something, make your own reality. Yeah, post-rap is not a new concept. The concept has been tossed around for years, like in previously mentioned posts and discussions. And as music continues to evolve and grow and get new tastes and perspectives from various backgrounds, experiences, and tastes, the idea of more boundary-pushing stuff coming out was inevitable. It's more turning into how far can people move the goalpost for what is considered music. We had abstract hip-hop, we had experimental hip-hop, but I genuinely think we are on the cusp of what could be coined as post-rap. So for everyone to be on the same page, and since this is not a traditional genre classification, I'm not claiming this is a new official subgenre or anything like that. I need to find what post-rap is to me. The key word in that sentence was me. This definition is absolutely up to interpretation, and if you disagree with my definition of post-rap, you can make your own video and use yours there. I define post-rap as hip-hop that infuses non-traditional and unlikely production styles and genres together, usually consisting of very psychedelic, abrasive, and noisy textures simultaneously. It's weirder than experimental hip-hop, foggier than abstract hip-hop, darker than trip-hop, as if you truly threw every genre into a blender and dumped it out between two pieces of hip-hop toast. Enjoy your sandwich, eat up. I could already tell from reading that bit isn't going to be worth it at all. And if you're still not 100% clear on my personal criteria for post-rap, I feel once you hear the music that I classify as such, you will get a better understanding of it. Because I feel it's so unique and boundary pushing, it sticks out like a sore thumb in the musical ecosystem in the best way. Also, quick little disclaimer. I'll be playing small portions of the songs I will be talking about in this video. So unless an act of God occurs, this video will most likely be demonetized. So if you watch this video and find yourself enjoying it and want to support the channel, that would be very much appreciated. Subscribe, we are slowly chugging our way to 100,000. You can also support through Patreon or channel merch. Thank you. I will now get back to the video. So why now? The idea of post-rap has always been in my noodle, buried underneath large pieces of paper of different shit. But I dug through the files because of a recent record that was released. And I have not been able to stop thinking about it or playing it because it's unlike anything I have heard in the genre before. Oh, you have been in the shot, you little fucker. Alright, if I just don't bring attention to it, I'm sure no one will notice. ELUCID, New York City rapper, producer, one half of internet's favorite duo Armand Hammer, released his latest album as of me filming this, Revelator. And to cut to the chase, this is what post-rap is to me. I thought the album was incredible. So much so it ended very high on my year-end list of 2024. I said it in that video, but I will repeat it again here. I love music that gives me something I did not know I needed. And ELUCID gave me something I did not know was possible. Revelator is abstract, noisy, psychedelic. Everything that can be categorized as post-genre. Such an incredibly impressive outing by ELUCID lyrically, but that's nothing new. We've known ELUCID has an incredible vocabulary and unique way of telling stories and sending messages. But for me personally, what shines here, and what is the crux of post-rap, is the instrumental choice.
I've always been interested in like these sorts of out there sounds. And when I think of the out there sounds, I think of free jazz. Free jazz intersects with noise. To me, to my ear, I hear similarities in the two. But I mean, for this record in particular, Miles Davis, Rated X is the name of the song. I wanted to hit this level of intensity. It's still like an eternal goal as I make music to produce sounds that maybe we've never heard before, or if you've heard them before, I've rearranged them in a way that you've never heard before. I've brought out a new feeling for you as a listener in the sounds that I create. Like, that's the eternal goal for me.
Side note, but this is a fucking fantastic interview. The Rap Music Plug podcast, highly recommend checking it out, because ELUCID gets deep into his process and creative mindset, which is invaluable information for someone like me. The word I've seen float around in the online world with people talking about this album is spot on: apocalyptic. The visuals for this album alone convey this dystopian retro future aesthetic, and the music is almost one for one. Some of my favorite songs here sound like they were scored for like the end of civilization. The World Is Dog, the intro track, sets the stage perfectly, with the first words of this album over harsh and ambient noise being Metropolis. Acoustic, damn near breakbeat drums over harsh bass stabs, with ELUCID passionately establishing what you are in for on this record.
I can feel it before you say it. I'm not psychic when I'm reading. I receive it, then I weigh it. Doesn't live or die.
Bad Pollen really displays the psychedelic element of the sound. Not so much psychedelic like a fun time getting high with your friends, more like a fucked up mushroom trip that like everything you look at is melting. A heavily distorted and time-stretched sample with intoxicating sample vocals and Middle Eastern instrumentation sends you into a trance.
Bad Pollen, waiting on money, thinking of murder, eating darkness since before I could remember. We can still
RFID. Literally how? This song was when I knew ELUCID was onto something truly unique. Clipping, blown out, just like straight up ugly classical instrumentation. Like the instrumental is a living organism like screaming out in pain over effortless lyricism. It blows my mind every time I hear it. Probably my favorite song here, and there is a lot of competition.
divide the dead. Truth find you where you at. It's fine, it's fair. No goodbyes unsaid. Later always instead. We split with
And the final track on the album, Zigzag Zig, leaves a sour taste in your mouth to end off the record in the best way. Again, blown out, heavy, monolithic bass, paired with this eerie synthesizer arpeggio. Like you're reading a book about the apocalypse, and this is the punctuation mark to end the book before you put it back on the shelf and reflect life. What more can I say, but he's literally making a new genre, guys. This record, a must listen. If the concept of boundary-pushing, genre-bending sound intrigues you even a little bit. Incredibly impressed with this record, and I cannot wait to hear ELUCID expand on this sound and universe he's crafting with his music.
I made this record because I'm inspired. I made this record because I want you to be inspired. I want us to be free. I want to make fire. I want you to know that there's a way out.
So now we have the groundwork for what I would consider the key attributes and sounds of the post-rap movement. I want to do a little rapid fire of songs that I think are that boundary pushing. Songs that I feel would fit very nicely in my classifications. Remember ELUCID, the guy I was talking about like 3 seconds ago? Armand Hammer. Himself and Billy Woods released the album We Buy Diabetic Test Strips in 2023. And a decent amount of material off that record is worth a mention, but for time's sake, the one I will be singling out specifically is Doves.
It's cold again.
A bonus track, not even on the original release. Doves is unique in the way that without a lyrical presence, I don't even think this would be considered hip-hop. More experimental sound art than a hip-hop beat. super producer Kenny Siegel and Benjamin Booker on vocals and guitar create, once again, this apocalyptic lo-fi atmosphere. With the song, I want to use the word decomposing as it goes along, devolving into essentially a harsh noise song. Hearing It's Cold Again will always send shivers down my spine.
They sit among us.
A more traditional hip-hop sound, kinda, is JPEGMAFIA's digital blackface. Yes sir, bust out the bingo cards, I'm bringing them up once again. Once again! A standout song production-wise from Black Ben Carson, digital blackface leans into that more bad acid trip industrial psychedelia. As if a Travis Scott beat watched Tetsuo the Iron Man. Man, 3 people are gonna get that reference, and I fuck with all 3 of you. The Final Spark by Cities of Eve. When Man Plays the Horns was released in 2022, I cannot remember a record I got more recommendations to listen to. It's an odyssey of an album, with the runtime hitting almost an hour and a half. But the last track, the appropriately titled Final Spark, stood out to me. Distorted sample work and ambient, washed out vocals. The track continues to fall apart and deconstruct into noise work. Fading guitars and unpredictable synth hits. Again, a lot of great stuff off of Man Plays the Horns that I can't get into in this video, but I do highly recommend you listening to it for yourself. Smile Number 1 by Slaus Malone 1. A Quiet Farewell is such a unique and boundary-pushing album. You have a book that you can follow along as you listen to the album. Smile Number 1 has some of the most unique sample work in this video, with the song seemingly living like multiple lives by the time the track ends, creating the unmatched sonic whiplash that represents the entire album. Buddy of mine, friend of the show, Jackson Burns, made a great video dissecting the album. If Slaus and Malone rings a bell, or if you're at all intrigued by the literary tie-in, I'd say check out his video.
I need what I need out here for the cream.
Perhaps one of the most mainstream to appear in this video, and one of the weirdest, is Peanut by Earl Sweatshirt. Some rap songs really has the credibility to say that it planted the seed for this boundary-pushing post-rap sound to the mainstream. No Function will be bumping this, ever. But it's not for that. It's for making your jaw drop when Earl Sweatshirt is rapping over what is essentially what it would sound like if you threw a Caretaker sample into like a fucking industrial meat grinder. It's super short, but it does its job at setting the stage for the final track, Riot. I fucking love that song too.
Picking out his grave, can't help but feel out of place. Try and catch some rays, death and hostile sour taste.
Now this last one is special because it will essentially take us into the end of the video, because the following words are pretty unanimously associated with pushing boundaries, turning emotional pain into avant-garde, transcendent hip-hop, unanimously associated with post-rap. By Storm, formerly Injury Reserve, consists of vocalist Richie with a T and producer Parker Corey. The change to By Storm occurred after the unfortunate and tragic passing of Injury Reserve member Steppa J. Groggs, Jordan Groggs, in 2020. Richie and Parker decided to end Injury Reserve after the passing of Groggs, and would proceed to make music under the new By Storm name.
We knew that there was no way that we were going to continue as like under the Injury Reserve name with just us two. It would have literally made no sense. This was very, very much like a main like paternal like aspect of the group. So walking into this situation, it was like we knew that there was no way. It wasn't even an option for us, you know? Like it was more of just like, okay, like how do we want to do this?
The sound By Storm has been orchestrating is unrecognizable to the fun and energetic jazz rap from Injury Reserve's Live at the Dentist's Office or Floss. As of me filming this video, there have been 3 official releases under the By Storm name, and all 3 of them leave me in awe and like stunned that they exist. So boundary pushing, it's like barely hip-hop, which means it's the perfect candidate for a post-rap classification. Their first song released in 2023, Double Trio, is bold, unpredictable, and genre-defying, if I can be so blunt.
We've been pretty anxious to put it out, you know, and excited to put it out because it's important to us. But at the same time, like, we wanted to make sure everything was perfect because this is a lot more than just a new song, you know? So we wanted to make sure that the way that we did this transition showed a lot of respect for, you know, the last 8 years.
So many different sections of this song, from ambient noise chords to classical jazz chops to breakbeat drums. The best word I can think to describe Double Trio is unapologetic. No genre box can or could hold them. Unapologetically different. After 2 years of toiling, 2025's Zigzag would be released. A much calmer song in comparison to Double Trio. Honestly reminds me a lot of the Injury Reserve track North Pole, with the heavily chopped guitars and blown out drums. Definitely a different flavor than what was given on Double Trio, but personally, I really like it. A great reflective, abstract, and meditative piece. And as I was writing this video, the newest track from By Storm is Double Trio 2. Exactly what it sounds like. Double Trio 2. But a more explosive version of the song, with walls of distorted horns and rapid fire kicks, picking up right where the first one ended off. I'm very interested to see where By Storm goes from here. With an album most likely around the corner, they've been on the forefront of this post-rap sound and boundary-pushing genre bending. I say been, and pretty conveniently avoiding the elephant in the room, because there is a very important album to this sound that I have not mentioned yet. You cannot talk about post-rap without Injury Reserve's 2021 album. I don't know about you, but when I was experiencing the rollout for this album, it felt different. Listening to and enjoying their previous self-titled album, the singles for By the Time I Get to Phoenix made me feel like something special is happening. I think a large contributing factor to that is the real-life and tragic passing of band member Steppa J. Groggs. Groggs' passing happened deep into the creation process of this album, so the context behind its making and the dramatic shift in direction to a much more serious and experimental sound turn this record into something bigger. Again, this is not a record for everybody, but it's not supposed to be. This is very out there, both sonically and lyrically. It's bipolar in the way it can exist in this eerie anxiety, bombastic energy, and soul-crushing sadness.
Just trying to do something exciting, like boredom and competitiveness, and trying to do something new and have fun. I feel like we've always wanted to do that, but this record, for the first time, I feel like we feel the most proud, where we could sit back and be like, wow, we really did something of our own. If the album had a different context, then, or even just sounded different, it just wouldn't have came out. Like, if this was like the last album, it wouldn't have came out. Parker always says that, like, imagine dropping Gravy and Biscuits right now, how fucking weird that would be.
Their 2019 tour was a huge moment for the album, with Black Country New Road, Slauson Malone 1, Jockstrap, Body Meat, among artists that they worked with. It was the tour that reignited their passion and influenced this album. Even though a lot of the record was completed before the passing of Groggs, the grief Parker and Richie were feeling continued to influence this album. Richie would say in an interview that a lot of the themes of grief and death came with him dealing with his stepfather passing away.
This record already had tones of things that we were already feeling, because while we were making this record, my step-pop passed away, and that had a lot to do with the tone, that and what was happening, you know, like environmentally and culturally, what was happening and globally. Those are the things that were really inspiring what we were making in this record. So when things happened, it was like, okay, this still feels appropriate to release.
Grief as an emotion was already deeply woven into the fabric of this album, and put Groggs passing on top of that. The mood swings of this album are kind of reflective of the different stages of grief. I argue denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance present themselves sonically on this album. It's truly something that, to this day, I have trouble wrapping my head around that it exists. The opening track, Outside. Fuck, what a perfect way to start this album. This is like one of my favorite album intros, like, of all time. Never has an opening track perfectly encapsulated the moods, the themes, and the sounds to come on the rest of the album. Heavily sequenced and drenched synths blare like sirens, as freight train percussion builds in the background. Richie's deep delivery and sampled heavy breathing are like the track is draining his energy. I love this song for so many reasons, and it's an awesome appetizer for what is in store on the rest of this album. Superman That, the track that the band says was the snowball catalyst to create this genre-bending sound on the whole album. And no wonder, because like, holy shit, what? A Black Country New Road sample, for lack of a better phrase, skull-fucked, with the most sporadic and insane drums, while Richie belts away on the chorus. Again, reiterating, very acquired taste, but fuck, I love it. And the origins of this track, coming from an improvised live DJ set, like, of course, why wouldn't it be? You can actually find the original performance where they sample Black Country New Road's Athens, France, live on stage, and it would become Superman That. As a fan, that's super sick, and I will be putting it in the description along with all the other interview clips and sound bites that I've been using throughout this video. Ever since I heard Top Picks for You, it struck like such a chord with me. Sonically, the song sounds so alien. Like it uses synthesizers that haven't been invented yet. Somehow ominous, yet simultaneously hopeful. But I think what really shines here is the lyrical substance. Richie detailing grief in the age of the internet. It's extremely difficult the way it is to process grief, but a new layer is added now, with the algorithm outliving the person and creating a constant reminder of them. I just think everything about this song is absolutely fantastic.
I can only imagine turn to ashes in the blink of an eye, go hold in a basket, but your patterns are still intact and algorithms still react. Algorithms still react.
The first chord of Knees, just damn. A generous sample of Black Midi's Sweater is the base of the track, as Richie and Groggs rap about literal and personal growth. It was the first single for By the Time I Get to Phoenix, and it set the stage for this to be a belter of an album. But the most crushing thing about this song is the music video. I might have played snippets of it at some point during this video, but Richie and Parker motionless on stage as flashing strobes illuminate a silhouette of Groggs as the song goes on, like, fuck.
Because I'm not getting taller. Please, is there anywhere I could grow? Please.
And with that, we transition into the final track of the album. The final track of Injury Reserve by Storm. Instead of the album ending on a soul-crushing note, the energy of this song is hopeful. Richie repeating "The show must go on," as Brian Eno's "Here Come the Warm Jets" are sampled. It generates the feeling of hope. It's genuinely uplifting and powerful. Reminds me of a similarly emotionally potent album's closer, "I Can't Give Everything Away" from David Bowie's Black Star. Leaving the album off with this feeling of, you might not believe it now, but everything is going to be okay. It's such a perfect end to Injury Reserve, because they would become By Storm. Just drop the E. They aren't leaving anymore. They've said their goodbyes. It is now time to be taken by storm.
Keep the rest in orbit, but who gon' hold it down when that rock can't take no moment? It rains and pours, but damn man, it's really pouring.
As more people see mainstream hip-hop becoming repetitive and stale, they instinctually flock to something different. Something with more emotion, fearlessness, and depth. I'm not officially proclaiming post-rap as the new rate your music subgenre. It truly is a movement. A movement that represents pushing boundaries to its limits. ELUCID, Armand Hammer, JPEGMAFIA, Cities of Eves, Lost Malone 1, Earl Sweatshirt, Injury Reserve, and now By Storm are all taking those steps to challenge what hip-hop is. And it's not just them. It's an exciting time to be a music lover. I personally cannot wait to see how the genre evolves and find new artists that are looking to push the boundaries of not just hip-hop, of music.